Hello there, you absurdly handsome bunch. Adam Cleary from FourFourTwo here, and today we're here to talk about goalies, and specifically crazy goalies, and even more specifically, how much fun crazy goalies are. Actually, you know what? That's not true at all. I've just lied to you there. What we're here to talk about is Andre Onana and how he is almost certainly going to be incorrectly classified as a crazy goalie over the coming weeks and months, because he's going to go to Man United. In fact, by the time this video goes out, they may well have completed that deal. So, if so, this is why Man United have bought Andre Onana. And if they haven't, this is why Man United really want to buy Andre Onana. All bases covered. Right, so Andre Onana is... Onana. Sorry, Rihanna's here. Onana. Why do you keep asking me that? Onana. Are you doing a bit? Are you doing a bit? She's doing a bit. Right, anyway, yes, sorry. Andre Onana is, and this is a big statement, probably the most modern goalie you can go out and buy. And what that means is he's just really good with his feet. And what that means isn't just that his distribution's good, like he can play short excellently, he can play long really well, but also his close control is really good. He can receive the ball under pressure, he can play his way out of tight situations, he can even beat a man if he wants to. And for obvious reasons, the way football is currently played, and specifically the way Erik Ten Hag is going to want to play, it's incredibly beneficial to have a goalkeeper with those skill sets. So this is pretty much Man United last season. I know they changed Fernandez's position a lot and people were in, people were out, but this is sort of roughly where they settled. And one of the big problems with this, as well as needing a man who scores loads of goals up front, is David De Gea. If you look at the players Ten Hag brought in, specifically Martinez, who was an incredible ball-playing centre-back, and Casemiro, who's one of the best pivots in world football, and Christian Eriksen, who's really comfortable getting on the ball in deep areas, there's a lot of emphasis on building out from the back, of playing the ball around your own third to try and unlock things in the final third. And the thing about David De Gea, right, this is going to sound unnecessarily flowery and poetic, but I'm a goalkeeper, so just let me have this. He's one of my favourite in the Premier League era because some of the saves he makes defy belief, they defy convention, but he was pretty much the last great goalkeeper who came along when being a goalkeeper pretty much just meant your ability to save shots. And I can see people taking issue with that sentence because obviously it's always been about command of your area and taking crosses and leadership and all that other stuff, but fundamentally, if your goalkeeper couldn't save things, he was worthless. And that hasn't changed. You still need to be a great shot stopper, but now so many teams, especially at the top level, need you, not just as a nice thing, need you to be able to get involved with the build-up, and if you can't do that, you can't play for them. And David De Gea, as much as I love him, can't do that. And the most glaring way this manifests itself is if you just look at Man United in the build-up, they tend to be 5 or 10 yards closer to their own goal than all the teams around them at the top of the league. And that is because pushing any further up than that would ask too much of De Gea. And what I mean by that is he is capable of getting involved in the build-up, but what Man United will normally do is push their full-backs on as much as they can get away with, and the two centre-backs will stay in the middle to be the first point of pass, and then Casemiro will drop to form this little triangle here. Eriksen's around as well, so he'll float, he'll find a bit of space, but effectively it's always these three players, and De Gea is there as an option in case they get stuck. If teams pen them in and they can't get to the fullbacks, or they can't get between the lines, or they can't go to the attackers, he's the one they'll go to. It'll come straight back to him. He'll be in a nice, safe, very deep position, and he can either try one out to the flanks himself or just punt it long. Or even sometimes the centre-backs will split as wide as they possibly can. Casemiro will come here, Eriksen will come across to help, and they'll try and get some kind of little triangle going between the wide players. Either way, you can see, however they're setting this up, De Gea is not included in it. Now, when building up from the back was first being popularised, first becoming a far more common sight, that's how you did it. Your goalkeeper wasn't going to be one of the best ball players in the team, so you got him in a situation where he's a useful option. You can use him to effectively bounce balls to other players, but he was never going to be included in it. That was like 10 years ago, that's how everyone did it. Actually, and I'm going to try and not go off on a tangent here, this is kind of why pressing became a thing, because teams had set patterns at the back, so if you could identify those patterns, if you could learn those patterns, if you could exploit those patterns, you could win the ball really high up, potentially. But the interesting thing about pressing coming into the game is you didn't really see teams deliberately try and press the goalkeeper. They were always taken away from that situation. They were the other team's get out. And obviously with pressing becoming a bigger part of the game, like whether you're a pressing team or not, you tend to have at least a plan for pressing the opposition in this area. The value of a goalkeeper who could get involved with this at a competent level and effectively add an extra man became just invaluable. Like if you're normally building up with 5 players, say, and the opposition decides, well, we're going to press that, so we'll commit 5 players to press you, you introduce the goalkeeper into the equation as a major part of it, and all of a sudden either they're completely outnumbered and it's completely ineffective, or they then got to commit 6 players forward. And obviously their goalkeeper isn't then going to go mark the centre forward, so that will give you an overload somewhere else in the pitch. And thus now what the best teams with really competent goalkeepers like to do is not have this triangle here, but they can push 10 yards further forward, the goalkeeper can play here, and instead they have a diamond. That'll either allow your other pivot player to just go where he wants, or if you're playing a 4-3-3, it means you've got the entire structure of the team nicely moved up the pitch. And if you're building up from this area, the rest of the team can push a lot further up the pitch, can get into more dangerous areas, and all of a sudden, you're not Man United building up on the edge of your own box, you're Man City or you're Liverpool building up in the middle of your half. And this is what Erik Ten Hag will want to do next season. He's got Martinez, who will do this role really well. He's got Casemiro, who will do this role really well. They've even got Mason Mount now, who is a perfect sort of attacking number 8. You can sacrifice a little bit of that stability in the middle to get a player who can do a lot more. But this does not work without the goalkeeper. To put David De Gea in this position where he'd be playing outside his own box a lot, where he'd be getting put under pressure, where he would be a part of the build-up and thus a part of the opposition's press, it's not what he's good at. That's not his skill set. He has disasters in these areas. I think probably the moment that will have convinced Ten Hag this was never going to work was the Europa League game. Like, this is a fairly routine ball to deal with. He just needs to bring it under control or hit it away first time, and he does that. That ain't gonna run. So, very straightforward. That is how Manchester United would be transformed by having a goalkeeper who was better with the ball at their feet. But why do they specifically want Onana? Because, I'll be honest, there's plenty of other goalkeepers on the market right now who can get involved in the build-up, who would be a big upgrade on De Gea in that area. Can play tidy, can play under pressure, can do all that stuff. So why him? And I mean, if we look at his FB ref profile, there's nothing that really jumps out at you there as like exceptional numbers. Like, a lot of those are just, you're playing a really good team who build out from the back. So of course you're going to concede fewer goals, and of course you're going to get more touches and more passes. There's not really anything that screams spend a bajillion pounds on me. But why you do spend the money on him is, well, first of all, levels. Like, there are goalkeepers who can do this very well, but he doesn't do it very well. He does it absolutely exceptionally. Like I said at the start, there's virtually no goalkeeper you go and buy who is better with the ball at his feet. Not good, there's loads of good ones, but nobody better. So in my opinion, you don't actually buy Andre Onana for his short passing and his build-up ability. You could buy other goalkeepers to do that. Nope, what you buy Onana for is his creative abilities. There have been several times this season for Inter Milan where he has effectively worked as not just a deep-lying playmaker, but a very, very deep-lying playmaker. He ends up being the man in space to receive the ball, to then play a long, a killer pass, a through ball, something that splits the lines. He is one of Inter's best passers and one of their most dangerous attacking players, and he's a fucking goalie. And if you want any examples of this, just look at the last half an hour of that Champions League final. Pretty much from the moment City go 1-0 up, they start trying to smother Inter Milan, stop them building up, and Onana is always the player left, and he plays some unbelievable passes into City's final third. He was repeatedly breaking the first line of Manchester City's press. He was finding players between the lines as they were sort of moving side to side. And when he wasn't doing that, he was firing dead-eye accurate balls into either Dzeko or Lukaku, who were then using that as a way to get other players in. Like, these aren't just hopeful long balls into the final third. They are the correct passing choice for that exact situation. He reads the game brilliantly from that position and chooses his passes accordingly. And when you are a team the stature of Manchester United, who spend pretty much every game having all their creative players targeted by the opposition, they're closed down, they're not allowed space, they shut down all their passing angles. If you can add another one in the shape of your goalkeeper, then that's a nightmare for other teams, because all of a sudden they can't neglect him in the press. They've got to make sure he's marked at all times. It forces them to commit at least one extra player forward to make that happen, which frees up loads of room for your creative players in the final third. Like, he is an extra dimension, not just to a team, but to football itself. But now, the bad news. If you're a Man United fan watching this video, you are going to spend the next few months of your life hearing about how this player is an absolute disaster waiting to happen. He is a calamity. He's got a shocker in his locker. And it's not entirely untrue. You go on the internet and there are no shortage of compilation clips of Onana just giving the ball to the opposition, to doing incredibly stupid things, to his brain apparently just falling out. But I am here to tell you, Man United fans, that if you look close at these videos, you will find one thing which should reassure you. Almost all of them, and almost all of them, by the way, are in a Ajax kit. An Ajax kit? An Ajax kit. Ajax kit. The Ajax kit. The problem with him when he first broke through, and indeed the reason he ended up at Inter Milan, no disrespect Inter Milan, was that he could do all this good stuff, but he still was a bit of a bomb scare. However, while at Inter Milan, big respect to Inter Milan, he has cut a lot of that out of his game. He has improved his decision-making, he has improved his overall technique, he plays these risky positions and these risky passes now with a far lower risk of disaster. He does still have the odd one in him though, but the guy's 27, he's coming into his prime years, he could well cut that out, and I would argue, again, as a goalkeeper, if that's how you want to use your goalkeeper, you just have to make your peace with the fact you may concede 1 or 2 stupid goals a season doing it. I can guarantee you, you will score more as a result if you just live with it. So what I'm saying, Man United fans, if anyone tries to wind you up about him over the next few months, just take a back seat. Just tell them, we'll see. And what I'll add for any neutrals watching is it's a no-lose situation. Really, either one of the best goalkeepers in the world who will entirely redefine how we think about goalkeeping in this country is about to come to the league, or Man United have just signed the biggest disaster imaginable. And that'll be entertaining to watch for the rest of us. But yes, Manchester United fans, yours is the opinion I am after. Is Andre Onana the man for the job? Is he the man you wanted? If not, who did you want? All of it in the comments below, please. Thank you very much. While you're here, if you enjoyed the video, and I hope you did, why not subscribe? We do them all the time for every club going, so it's a good time. It's a good time. It's a good time. In the meantime, though, grab me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads. I'm bloody everywhere at Adam Cleary, CLERY, and so is FourFourTwo at FourFourTwo. Until next time, though, I am sweating absolutely buckets in this studio, so I'm going to wrap up right now and open a window. Goodbye.